Hi, thank you for joining me for today's process video, and today I'm using my Shimelle main character energy to document some photos of our trip to Jersey Zoo a couple of weeks ago. So I've pulled out this orange background and I'm just gutting the centre because I'm going to use this as a border around my white cardstock to create my layout. The photos that I've printed two 4x6 photo papers, and on each paper I've got 4 photos, portrait style, which I've done using the project app Life on my phone, to add 4 photos to a page, and then I've trimmed those out, and off screen I just stuck those down onto white cardstock to create 2 strips of 3 and then 2 separate photos, just so they've got a white border. So I'm now going to distress the edges of the white cardstock. I just trimmed this down to 11 inches square, so there's half an inch border around each of the edges, and the orange paper I gutted out so that I had a 1-inch border around the edge to give me enough space just to stick this white cardstock onto. Then I've got plenty of that orange left for another layout. So just getting that centralised, I distressed all the edges of the white card, and now I can start working out how this layout's going to go. So I had a good idea that I was going to keep 2 photos to the left hand side, one of the sign at Jersey Zoo and one of the Jersey goats or Guernsey goats, and then I pulled out some of the scraps that I had from this collection to add as little strips to the right hand side of the 2 photo strips. So I've got a green paper, a yellow paper with suns on, and that navy blue one. It was a beautiful sunny day, so that's why I went for this yellow one, and the other colours just went really nicely with the colours of the photos. So I've got various photos, one of Mum and Amelia, the orangutan, the flamingos, a tortoise, one of James with the orangutan in the background, and a capybara. We saw all the animals there. It was absolutely wonderful, a glorious day. So I'm just going to stick these strips down, and these will sit on the left hand side, and I do want to come in with some mixed media, so I'm just getting this sorted so that then I can work out where the mixed media is going to go. And I'm going to use a stencil today, this stencil, which is from Simple Stories, an old collection, and Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide. So sorry about the camera wobbling. I thought I'd resolve that, but it seems to be wobbling again now. I'm not quite sure what I've done. But I'm just going to blend some ink onto the page, and then I'll bring the block of papers back in, and you'll see, look, completely covered it up. So I'm going to have to work a lot harder to get a lot more ink on this background so that it shows. So I'm just going right up to the edge of the white cardstock here, and then I'll bring it much further over to the left of the page. So there was a lot of toing and froing doing that, so I cut some of the filming out so you don't have to watch me bringing things back in and putting them back again, just to make sure that I had enough stenciling on there. So that's how the layout's roughly going to look. I'm just going to distress the edges of these papers. Normally I do that before sticking them down together as a block, but I was so happy with the way I positioned them and so worried that I was going to forget if I pulled them apart that I just wanted to glue them in situ. So I just added the glue in the centre of each of the pages on the back so that I could still get to the edges and distress them. So I did some with my nails, and then the big bits that I could reach easily with the edge distresser I've done with the edge distresser. So that's that block sorted, so I can stick that down, and then I'll just check how I want the photos, and I'm going to the row on the right, I'm going to add foam pads behind just to give that a bit of height and prominence. So here are those 25mm Sticks 2 foam pads that I love using on my layouts. They're so handy for matting things like this and just giving a little bit of dimension to the page. So there's that first strip down, and then the second strip I'm just going to glue directly down onto the page. And I'll do the same with the 2 single photos that are going on the left hand side. The one of Jersey Zoo I'm going to mount up onto foam pads, and the one of the mountain goat, or the I think it's a Guernsey goat, I'll just stick flat onto the page. So here we are with those foam pads again for that one singular photo of Jersey Zoo. And then once these are down, I can start embellishing. So I don't have that many embellishments other than florals and things. You can see here from Shimelle's main character energy, a lot of those are fussy cut. This one isn't though, this is one of the ephemera pieces, and I'm going to tuck that down on the right hand side just because the colour goes so perfectly. And then this sun I thought would work really nicely behind the picture of the Jersey Zoo sign. So I'm just peeling that foam pad up so that I can tuck that under there. And then just looking through to see what else there is, and I find some of the printables from Hey Little Magpie that I'd pre-cut. So I'm just going to add, at the moment I'm adding some labels underneath those 2 singular photos. I do take those away eventually, but I am going to add 2 to that right hand cluster, and I like how they look there. I find this title that says Happy Story, and I think that'll work nicely, so I'm going to use that. So first of all, gluing down these bits that I've taken from Main Character Energy before I go any further. And these are some bits that I've just pulled out from my older stash, and I'm just going to see if any of these will work. So first of all, I've got the Pink Fresh Studio chipboard flare, and I'm just having a look to see if any of those will work. And I find this little fern leaf, which I think works nicely underneath that floral. And then I also find on the Vicky Boutin Sweet Rush sticker sheet a little leaf, and then also that palm tree, which is going to work nicely next to that leaf there. So just building up that cluster on the right hand side nicely up the side of those photos. There's also this little tab which is orange and works nicely with the colours on the page. And finally a word strip that says Happy Memories. I'll pop it down on the photos on the left hand side here, but I do actually move that shortly. So now into some more Pink Fresh stickers, and I find a little ticket that says Summer. So I just want to add that to the pictures of the entrance. Just faffing about to get it at the right height. Trying to work out how that title's going to go as well, whether it'll go over or under that ticket. So I decided to get that stuck down before I go any further. And then I'll keep looking to see if there's anything else. So I do find another ticket that says Fun, so I'm going to tuck that down on the left hand side here. And I know I need more bits. Now I've started a little cluster there, so I will look for more pieces to add there. So I find this one that says Off the Grid, and it's bringing that green in again, so I do like that piece. But I want something else to go underneath it, so I'm bearing that in mind while I'm looking through the other bits. So now into the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Essentials Colour Palette sticker book. Gosh, that's a mouthful. And I go straight to the green page, and this is where I find a second piece to add underneath that Off the Grid. And it just says Little Things, but I just think it finishes off that little cluster nicely there. So I'm just moving that Happy Memories sticker back to the right hand side, and I'm putting it on the picture of the flamingos. And then I've just cut one of my tabs from craft cardstock. It's punched with my EK Success punch, and then I just cut it in half to have one tab. And I'm popping that up at the top. I shall add my date onto there. Back to the Simple Story sticker book, and I find another little leaf to add to that floral cluster. And then I want to add a tiny bit of journaling underneath the photos of the zoo. And I literally just say, such a wonderful day at the zoo. I'm going to be doing a few pictures from this trip, so I don't need to worry about writing too much on this one. So I'm just going to add my date to a scrap of white cardstock and then cut that out and stick it onto the tab at the top of the page. Just trimming that out. And there we go. And then a little ribbon loop on the right hand side above that palm tree finishes the layout. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this process and it's given you some ideas. This is a great style for using lots of photos on a page. Look, I've got 8 there. So if you've got a day trip out of things that you don't necessarily want a full page dedicated to a big photo, this is a great way of documenting those photos. Thank you again for joining me. I shall see you again soon. Bye.